Hello and welcome to the Citi Newsroom on Citi TV. My name is Tuffuor Boateng.
And I am Safo. Coming up.
Finance Minister Tuffuor denies the culpability of all the grounds leveled against him as basis for a vote of censure, currently before an ad hoc committee of Parliament.
My principal reflections today are to ensure that by the end of these proceedings, the truth would have taken center stage, and in the process, any unfounded doubts about my motives, my competence, and my character would have been dispelled.
Also coming up, Association of Ghana Industries and Ghana Union of Traders Association welcome Bank of Ghana's move to withdraw forex for importation of some products into the country.
If government is taking steps to ensure that local products are receiving the needed attention, it's really a great thing for us in AGI.
We've come to the realization that excessive importation has been the problem of the nation.
Still to come, passengers who use the bus rapid transit system, Ayalolo, complain of an increment in fares.
It's affecting us because those days we used to pay, even when you take 14 cedis, you can take in and out. But now you have to pay 20 cedis before you take in and out. Even the prices in the market too, they are increasing.
And later, organized labor clamors for 60% increment in their base pay for public workers.
It looks like there's no mandate from government, so we have asked the meeting to be adjourned for government to come back with a proper mandate, then we can continue the negotiations.
Let's bring you the details of our stories now. The Finance Minister Tuffuor says payments made for the construction of the National Cathedral were legally made from the contingency vote.
This comes after the minority in Parliament accused the Minister of unconstitutional withdrawals from the Consolidated Fund for the project as a basis for a censure motion against the Minister.
Appearing before an 8-member ad hoc committee probing the censure motion, the Finance Minister Tuffuor clarified that the funds were withdrawn from the contingency vote and not the contingency fund.
The 8-member ad hoc committee probing a censure motion against the Finance Minister Tuffuor struck out 2 of the grounds for the motion against the minister. These are the ones that hinged on conflict of interest and illegal payments of oil revenues into offshore accounts. The Finance Minister reacted to the other 5 allegations when he appeared before the 8-member Committee of Parliament. He first apologized for the current economic hardship.
Since the Tuffuor government came into office in 2017, everything we have sought to do was aimed at making the lives of the people better. We have been focused on this vision to improve lives, and in the first 4 years, our efforts were leading to a realization of the vision. Today, I acknowledge our economy is facing difficulties, and the people of Ghana are enduring hardships. As a person President Tuffuor has put in charge of this economy, I feel the pain personally, professionally, and in my soul. I see and feel the terrible impact of rising prices of goods and services on the lives and livelihoods of ordinary Ghanaians. I feel the stress of running a business, but it is the strength and perseverance of the Ghanaian people that inspire me and my colleagues in government every morning. And it's to press on. That is what gives me the strength to press on, to find solutions and relief for Ghanaians to the myriad of problems that our country and the rest of the world are facing, especially since March 2020. Co-chairs, let me use this opportunity to say to the Ghanaian people what I believe with courage every finance minister around the world may wish to say to their people now. I am truly sorry.
The minister says payments made for the National Cathedral were legally made from the contingency vote.
Honorable co-chairs, 3 days ago, when the proponents were here, they alleged I had made payments from the contingency fund to support the National Cathedral. I want to state that this is just not true. Let me be categorical. I have taken no money from the contingency fund to make payments for the National Cathedral. It appears the proponents have confused the contingency fund with the contingency vote. Let me explain. There is a difference between contingency fund and contingency vote. The contingency fund the proponents refer to is what is covered under the Constitution, specifically under Article 177. This constitutes money voted by Parliament, and advances from this must be authorized by the Parliamentary Finance Committee. The contingency vote, on the other hand, is a line under the other government obligations vote, which is approved by the Finance Committee and passed as part of the Annual Appropriation Acts passed by Parliament. Honorable co-chairs, in preparing the annual budgets, the practice is that provision is made for indicative expenditures that have not been fully costed at the time of the budget presentation. Provisions are made in the contingency vote to cater for such expenditures. For example, in 2014, there was no specific allocation in the 2014 budget for Ghana's participation in the FIFA World Cup in Brazil. The cabinet of President John Mahama in March 2014 at the time approved then some $9.622 million for that tournament, including that amount which was flown to Brazil in a private jet for the players. A more current example is Ghana's participation in Qatar. The Black Stars qualified for the 2022 FIFA World Cup, way after the 2022 budget presented on 16 November 2021 was approved by Parliament. No specific amount was thus budgeted for it, but through the contingency vote, we have been able to provide funds legitimately for the team to participate in the competition. In conclusion, co-chairs, all the payments made for the National Cathedral were lawfully done and from the contingency vote under the other government obligations vote and not from the contingency fund as alleged by the proponents.
The minister also defended himself against allegations of deliberate and dishonest reports of economic data to Parliament, gross mismanagement of the economy, and financial recklessness leading to the collapse of the Ghana cedi.
The issue of deliberate misreporting of economic data to Parliament is not just unfortunate, but simply untrue. I and, for that matter, the Ministry of Finance have never misreported data to Parliament, as has been alleged. On Tuesday, 13th November 2022, the proponents clarified that their concerns relating to the reporting of fiscal data. In their submission, they alleged that different sets of data were presented to the IMF and the people of Ghana. That is untrue. The 2019 Article 4, which they cited, actually clearly demonstrates that the computing and reporting of the deficit is consistent between the government and the IMF, as shown on the table labeled Ghana Selected Economic and Financial Indicators, 2017 to 2024, on page 4 of the IMF Article 4 and Appendix 3A of the 2019 budget. I want to state that I have not been reckless in the management of the fiscal operations of government. Rather, our strenuous efforts to protect the public purse is what has helped this government to have achieved much, much more than any government ever over a similar period in virtually all sectors. Honorable co-chairs, I've come to Parliament House 10 times, 11 times since this government in the last 6 years to present the annual and mid-year budgets. On all occasions, I have discussed all proposed fiscal operations of government, revenue, expenditure, and financing. On all these occasions, I receive approval as Parliament subsequently passed appropriation bills for all those budgets. Every key expenditure made has been supported by this House. Indeed, we also saw that there are consequences when the House for months refused to pass a major revenue generation item introduced by this government to support the fiscal stability of the economy. It is important at this point to also highlight that the key component of the national debt stock related to 3 exceptional expenditure items that are neither external nor a creation of this government. Energy sector excess capacity payments, 17 billion, which relates to a legacy of take-or-pay contracts that saddle the country's economy with annual payments in excess capacity charges of close to $1 billion. Direct COVID-19 expenditure amounted to Ghana cedis 12 billion, the banking sector cleanup of 25 billion. These 3 items alone contribute to about 23% of our annual debt servicing costs. These 3 items were not created from the recklessness of our party. The long doings of the Ghanaians endured during the NDC administration between 2012 and 2016 was more to do with NDC's governing ability to pay for power. So, co-chairs, I find it curious that Honorable Tuffuor would choose to cite energy bills as an example of the recklessness that the minority charges me with and seek my removal by censure.
He announced a post-COVID recovery policy aimed at sustaining the economy.
Honorable co-chairs, even in these challenging times, we have not been rudderless. We have prepared the post-COVID-19 Program for Economic Growth, PCPEG, as a domestic blueprint which has benefited from input from all key stakeholders, including civil society, social partners, labor unions, employers, and faith-based organizations, academia, industry professionals, and the leadership of Parliament. This document contains a set of time-bound structural reforms and fiscal consolidation measures to place our debt levels and fiscal accounts on a sustainable path over the medium term, and has underpinned government's engagement with the IMF. The negotiation with the IMF is progressing steadily and well, and we are working assiduously to achieve a staff-level agreement by end of December 2022.
The Association of Ghana Industries, AGI, has welcomed a move by the Bank of Ghana to withdraw forex support for the importation of certain products. According to an electronic message from the BOG to the commercial banks, the central bank will no longer provide forex support for the imports of rice, poultry, vegetable oil, toothpicks, and other non-critical goods. The following report has more.
Ghana's economy has come under stress due to a 50% steep depreciation of the local currency, rising inflation currently at a little over 40%, and rising interest rates. The fall in the value of the cedi has been attributed to excess demand not matched by supply. The bulk oil distribution companies who import crude, an essential commodity in the Ghanaian economy, have been one of the hardest hit as foreign currency, especially the dollar, becomes short in supply. This has resulted in a sharp rise in prices of petrol and diesel and a shortage of premixed fuel owing to the inability of the BDCs to fulfill their obligations to their suppliers. To help fix this, the Bank of Ghana is withdrawing forex support to some imports and channel same to the bulk oil distribution companies and other essential goods, and channel same to the BDCs. These imports include rice, poultry, vegetable oil, toothpicks, pasta, fruit juice, bottled water, ceramic tiles, and non-critical goods. The Association of Ghana Industries has lauded the government for the bold step taking and says it is ready to fill the void provided the right conditions are created for local businesses.
For a very long time, several years, AGI has been advocating for promotion of production of goods locally. And so if government is taking steps to ensure that local products are receiving the needed attention, it's really a great thing for us in AGI. Because, as you see, the big challenge we're facing now is because we're not patronizing locally made products, and we're relying very heavily on imported products, making the cedi under intense pressure. So if the central bank is going to withdraw support for non-essential commodities, that is good, especially for those products that we have the capacity locally to produce. I can assure you that AGI has capacity to produce most of these products that we import. We have capacity to produce, for example, cooking oil.
Yes, I remember the last time we spoke, you mentioned Roma.
Yes.
That Roma has capacity to produce the food.
Yes, we can produce cooking oil. We have capacity to produce machetes. We have capacity to produce cables, electric cables. In fact, the qualities are so good. People come from different parts of the world to come and buy our cables. We have capacity to produce things like sanitary pads and all of these. So why do we continue to import them if you have capacity to produce? Okay, so any measure to ensure that it's always local products are always preferred to imported ones are good.
From the traders' perspective, the Ghana Union Traders Association, GUTA, says the move by government, if implemented by the right approach, will help the country gain self-sufficiency. President of GUTA, Joseph Obeng, tells Citi News that members of the association are diversifying their trade to take advantage of the new policy.
As we all know, we've come to the realization that excessive importation has been the problem of the nation. The perennial depreciation of the cedi has been a problem for all of us. For us, the trading community, we want a solution to this. And if this is the way to go, why can't we support it? Especially when governments have been able to identify the potential areas that we all also admit that if we make a little more effort, we'll be able to be self-sufficient, consume what we produce here in those items, and even be able to export it. For our very selves, we are also even trying to diversify our trade, because trading means buy and sell of goods. We have been buying these goods, and then we have to look within, get the goods that is we have here in abundance and competitively. Then we also export to shore up the forests in this country. So this is the surest way to go. When we went to Parliament about 3 days ago, all the stakeholders, AGI, Chamber of Commerce, and Ghana Union of Traders Association, we all came to a conclusion and we built consensus that this is the surest way to go, and we have to give it a support.
Meanwhile, economics and lecturer at the University of Ghana Business School, Professor Lord Mensah, has asked the central bank to tread carefully. He says a sudden withdrawal of forex support for a commodity like rice is not the way to go. He is dreading the artificial increase in price, as in his estimation, the local producers do not have the capacity to produce the rice needs of the country.
More or less a knee-jerk kind of reaction, and I don't see any impact it will make, in a sense that if you take our import bill, which calls for the dollar demand, well, we know very well that there are some products that indeed you can produce them here. So why do you have to import them? You can't get up overnight to put up a statement like that, because you've not assessed the capacity in-house, the capacity in the country, whether the local farmers will be able to supply, the rice, demand on the market. So usually such policies are supposed to be gradual. You look at it, give it target based. So assuming you have a policy like planting for food and jobs, and you are targeting only rice, you know that very well in the next maybe 5 years, your demand for rice will reduce by 70%. So effectively 30% will be only imported, right? So it will turn up to save your dollar. So it forms part of the restructuring of the economy, which we've been calling for every now and then, that even as part of the political manifesto that has been read over the years, we talk about taxation to production. It's a gradual process, and we anticipate that we'll get to that point one day. But to get up and say we've stopped importing rice, we've stopped, we stop giving dollar for importation of rice, importation of poultry. I think it's too harsh. This should have been going by percentages and then giving, okay, fine. We can only accommodate, some few coins for, some few, dollars for importation up to this level. But we expect that the local farmers will meet up in terms of the demand.
For stakeholders in the energy sector, the move is already paying off. Charles Osukumi for Citi News.
A meeting between public sector workers and the government over an increment in the base pay on the single spine salary structure for 2023 has ended inconclusively. This comes on the back of a proposal by the public sector workers demanding a 60% increment in salaries. Speaking after the meeting, the Executive Secretary for the Civil and Local Government Staff Association, Isaac Bampo Addo, says the government is showing no goodwill in addressing their demands. The following report has more.
Organized labor on behalf of public sector workers on Thursday, November 17, 2022, in a statement proposed a 60% increment in the base pay of the single spine salary structure for 2023. The base pay salary is the amount of money a salaried employee regularly earns before any additions or deductions are applied to their earnings. In an attempt to address their concern, the government on Friday, November 18, met labor unions to begin negotiations on the matter, but the meeting ended inconclusively.
Going through the proposals that we had presented to government, it looks like there's no mandate from government, so we have asked the meeting to be adjourned for government to come back with a proper mandate, then we can continue the negotiations. As at now, no decision on the proposals that we give has been given to us. It's because we all know what is happening in the country as at now, and would have wished that we'll finish this as soon as possible. We should have done this by June this year, and we are in November, and we are still talking about it, and we are nowhere near any agreement. So we hope that at the next adjourned date, something good will come out.
The public sector workers explained that originally, the daily base pay was 10%, which was above the national daily minimum wage. But according to them, the current base pay is 16.2% less due to the increment in the minimum wage. This, they say, has created a wide gap between their base pay and the minimum wage, hence the need for government to intervene.
And they cannot use this as a bait for their budget reading. If because of this they are not going to read the budget, it's up to them. If they really mean to read the budget, then they should be serious with these negotiations. We are not happy at all, and Ghanaian workers are suffering. You are all workers, we are all suffering. Look at what the living standard is at today. Comparing what we are taking today and comparing what others are also taking. I don't think it's right. We think that this salaries negotiation should end for everybody in this country to know where he or she stands, so that we can all go to the same market and enjoy life together.
Meanwhile, the Deputy Employment and Labour Relations Minister, Bright Rekubrobe, indicated that the government is committed to addressing their demands and that the negotiations have been adjourned to Monday, November 23, 2022.
We scheduled a meeting for today, and you saw how well attended both sides came, Labour and government. So it's not about delay. I mean, it's about some disagreements initially, but that's the spirit of negotiation. We have not come to a consensus, and therefore we have adjourned because we believe that we'll go and sleep over our respective positions and come Monday and hopefully complete. We are not tabling anything making them upset. It's still a negotiating process, and they believe that, what they put on table, we must accept it, but then we also are looking at so many factors, just like they are also looking. So Monday, like I said, 2 days within the weekend will give us some respite, think of our positions, and come back.
You're watching the Citi Newsroom on Citi TV. Still ahead. Government admits to challenges facing its alternative mining initiative.
We'll bring you the details shortly. Do stay.
Plus is a fully skimmed evaporated milk. Creamy Plus is available in a shop near you.
This message has been vetted and approved by the FDA.
Please listen carefully. God is speaking to us.
It's that time again. Impact 2022.
Today, we block the delays. We override the delays. We will celebrate the victory and the triumph. Put your cancel every delay tactics of the enemy on the account of the blood of Jesus.
Ministering Apostle Joshua Selman.
God does not speak sympathizing with your current situation. He speaks as touching your destiny.
Pastor Jerry Eze.
I command the power of delay be broken. Let your amen thunder louder.
Reverend Eastwood Anaba.
The time has come for you to stop playing religion and take your destiny in your hand.
Bishop Gregory Toussaint.
Spiritual warfare is first of all a lifestyle. You fight Satan primarily by the way that you live.
Dr. David Enchi, Apostle Francina Norman, Prophet Victor Boateng, Prophet Ajiman Prempe, introducing Minister Jonathan Ruben. 8 days and 8 nights of power and impact, including a prayer breakfast on Saturday, December 3rd at the Prayer Mountain with Apostle Joshua Selman. Visit linktr.ee/actionch for transportation, registration, and prayer breakfast tickets. Impact 2022, bridging the gap.
A great journey lies ahead of us all, and we all have different paths carved out for us. No matter who you are and the path you're on, make sure you choose a partner you can trust, a partner with integrity who will always give you the support you need when you need it. No matter what you do and where you are in your journey in life, you are very significant, and so is the path you're on.
Consolidated Bank Ghana, CBG, cherishes social security as much as you do and shares the same values as you. That is why we are the right financial partner to stand with you. We are now one of the largest banks in Ghana, and we are ready to partner and work with you. CBG, we stand with you.
You're welcome back. Let's bring you some more stories. Now, the government has admitted that its alternative mining initiative introduced to discourage illegal mining is not yielding the desired results. Now, according to Deputy Lands and Natural Resources Minister George Mreku Duka, the alternative mining programs offer fewer financial benefits as compared to engaging in mining activities. He says, although the government is intensifying enforcement to clamp down on galamsey, it is also introducing more environmentally friendly communities mining programs in mining areas to help reduce the illegal mining menace. Our bureau chief for the Middle Belt, Edward Oponmafu, reports.
Illegal mining is still on the rise in many mining communities in Ghana despite numerous enforcement efforts by government. Many water bodies, forest reserves, cocoa and oil palm plantations, among others, have been destroyed due to the increasing rates of illegal mining activities. The government's introduction of alternative mining initiatives has not done enough to discourage the menace of illegal mining, popularly known as galamsey. The Deputy Minister of Lands and Natural Resources, George Mreku Duka, says the government is coming up with strategies to regularize mining in various mining areas through environmentally friendly approaches.
Whatever you do, it's been century, more than even a century, that people have been running around trying to get gold nuggets, and you cannot stop them. Government upon government have tried on countless occasions just to get them in a way mine responsibly, but it's not working. So because possibly what we term as alternative is not serving the alternative that we think of, that somebody's earning like 200 Ghana cedis a day, and you tell him to go and learn any kind of get a sewing machine or something. That person will not see it as a measurable or something that will commensurate what he had earlier. So we said, then let's get something that will meet up the expectation at least, and that will also be considered as responsible. So we brought in this community mining concept. But as I said earlier in my speech, the large-scale concessionaires are only able to employ about 30,000 Ghanaians, whereas this small-scale mining is getting about 1 million Ghanaians directly employed. And you cannot in a way underrate such a situation. Look at the unemployment situation that we have in the country. You cannot convince me that I should ban small-scale mining and rather encourage large-scale mining, which are for foreigners. I wouldn't agree. What is important is for us to regularize the sector.
He made this statement at Atronsu in the Western North region, where he launched a community mining initiative. The chief of Atronsu, who is also the Kwamuhine of Seshubekwan Traditional Council, wants the government to ensure its community mining initiatives being introduced do not end up destroying water bodies. Reacting to this, Mr. George Mirikuduka assured that government is putting adequate measures in place to ensure responsible mining in all community mining areas. He also outlined new strategies being introduced as part of plans to intensify enforcement efforts in the fight against galamsey.
Procured speedboats that will be running along Pra and Cobra, Tano, Offing, and all other river bodies that we have. We have the Operation Hall 2 that will also continuously patrol. We have other measures that we're putting in place, even with the use of helicopters and other things that I will not be able to disclose. We critically serious about this menace. We should stop in a way painting a picture that the one promoting responsible mining is doing galamsey. I've been tagged as a galamseyer. My constituents know that I don't involve myself in mining. I don't even know basically practically how they mine and all that. But I represent them. I represent mining. I understand it. I've studied it and I understand it. I know the benefits that we'll get as a nation. So I will always root for it. But so I don't care whatever tax that they give me. That is how we do our politics in Ghana. Let's bring him down. If you see somebody who is hardworking, let's find ways to in a way suppress him. I don't even see my family, my children, trying to make sure that we work hard to get things done in this country, for the teeming youth to get something doing. Look at the excitement around them.
It's obvious that government and all relevant stakeholders will have to do more with respect to how we're handling the mineral resources in the country. For Citi News, I'm Edward Oponmafo, Atronsu.
The leadership of the Technical University Teachers Association of Ghana says all campuses will comply with an industrial action it declared on Friday. TUTAG recently issued a 10-day ultimatum to the government to settle concerns regarding the codified conditions of service of members. The association says it has not received the needed attention from the authorities. The association has withdrawn all activities in technical universities across the country and says it will only resume if the government addresses the concerns. Citi News' Ashanti regional correspondent Hafiz Tijani has more.
The association is, among other things, demanding the payment of outstanding book and research allowances for the 2021-2022 academic year for the majority of its members. The association on Friday declared an indefinite strike over what it said was government's failure to engage its leadership after some timelines were given.
When we met some 10 days ago, we did indicate that we're giving government some time to to have the issues addressed. That indicates that we are not just strike happy because we gave government ample time. We think that within the 10 days, government should have resolved the issues to avert this strike. Yeah, no, we talk about our conditions of service. Okay, the IGF, that's the internally generated fund conditions of service. As we indicated, we have submitted everything to Fair Wages and Salaries Commission, and they have forwarded same to the Ministry of Finance, and Finance is supposed to approve. But the approval seems not to be coming. Okay, our colleagues have retired. They need to be paid something. But if this approval doesn't come, it means that they will continue to be waiting. And how long can we continue to be waiting? You see, the most painful aspect is that we met at Labour Commission, that is on Wednesday, and not a single member from the government side was represented. Besides that, we were told that the said approval letter we were looking for has been written. Just produce copy of that letter. We were told in the face that we were not copied in the letter, so we couldn't be given copy.
TUTAG says it is withdrawing all services on campuses until the concerns are resolved.
We are withdrawing all services until further notice. Okay, and I must add that it is not just about the IGF conditions of service, it's also about our off-campus and then car maintenance allowances. Now, as you will recall, I did indicate that government unilaterally varied this condition. Okay, now government has decided that henceforth it will be paid without considering the ESPOM price, which is not the practice. And we think that as a condition of service issue, there should always be engagement. We should discuss and agree before any variation could be effective. But in this instance, nothing like that happened. And we have written to the government to be engaged, and they seem not to be engaging us. And these are the issues that have compounded the issue to bring us to where we are today.
Although some campuses are still on vacation, the strike has begun taking effect at other technical universities which have reopened. The leadership of the Technical University Teachers Association says the industrial action is in full force and its members across the campuses in the country will comply with the directive. Hafiz Tijani, Citi News, Kumasi Technical University, Ashanti Region.
This is still the Citi Newsroom on Citi TV. Still ahead. Passengers who use the bus rapid transit Ayalolo complain of an increment in fares.
We'll tell you more shortly. Stay with us.
Anyone can become a household.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. You Go Flip, a real estate gaming platform that allows you to play and stand a chance of winning a house or cash or consolidated prizes, such as savings towards a house. Simple and easy to play. Visit www.yougoflip.com. Buy a ticket to enter the game. Wait for the end of the game to enjoy the win. Anyone can win. Flip it or own it. You go flip. This advertisement has been vetted and approved by the Gaming Commission of Ghana. Play responsibly, not for persons below 18 years, and gaming can be addictive.
Good morning once again, and welcome to another slide into the archives on Memory Bank. This is yours truly, Tony Menka.
An opportunity to prove yourself. What do? Run off?
I'm about to be hit with a 2 million Ghana cedi lawsuit, and you're telling me I'm asking for too much? You are under arrest.
I didn't rape her. She owes me an apology.
If you want to spread news, you give it to the ladies.
You said you should go and sleep with him.
So what should I go do with him? Sing him a lullaby?
We are giving Uptown FM up to 9 a.m. to retract and apologize.
That's a boy be crazy. If you can't cause for yourself.
So get out your way.
Fire anybody for you. You go be a press council.
You're welcome back. Passengers of Ayalolo buses have raised concerns over the increase in transport fares. According to them, the managers of Ayalolo in less than 1 month have increased its fares twice. There's more in this report filed by Citi Newsroom and Shirley Zhu.
The Ayalolo Bus Rapid Transit is a social intervention program supported by the World Bank to ease intra-city transport. Currently, Ayalolo operates from Accra to Ashaman, Adentan to Accra, Kaswa to Accra, Ofanko to Accra, Accra to Ashaman, as well as Pokwase to Accra. Following the increase in fuel prices, various transport unions increased their transport fares, and operators of Ayalolo also increased their fares. However, some passengers have been complaining about the move.
Last year, na 55. Mo po man tumuntem. Ya tu fa mo kro mo tumuntem. Na edi ba 7 cities. Ya kasa ya satana ka structure nyina jibe say 9 cities. Ti no mo ji 7 cities. Onso asese ano prakupe 9 cities. Because you have to first, you have to fuel money. Some to 2 omodiano 9 cities. Say I mean, okay, 9 and drew 2 weeks. And I buy 10 cities. Into what bounce why? I bet charge you niama. And so now would be 2 bus no. Also drew baby I will corner over faka and over fak kaya diako. Ning na would be count niama no sika ho. Until the oba beton so be gina wa person ton so to me no madan no.
First it was 7 cedi, but now it's 10 cedis. When did they increase it? That was last 3 weeks or 1 month ago. It's affecting us because those days we used to pay, even when you take 14 cedis, you can take in and out. But now you have to pay 20 cedis before you take in and out. And even the prices in the market too, they are increasing day by day. So it's affecting us. Seriously, policy is about a fuel, and that's what they are saying about up to now. So we can't argue with them. We just pay them. That's all.
But the jumping of 10 cedi is too much. From 7 cedi to 10 cedi, you can see it's too much. And this is the transport, this government transport that have been helping people. But jumping from 7 cedi to 10 cedi, I think they have to do something about it so that at least the masses will enjoy it.
So when they did that increase, did you protest? Did you ask questions? Why?
Is it whether you ask questions or not, the increase has been made. Yes, whether you can walk from Ashama to Accra, it cannot be possible. So the authority has increased it. The only thing is for we to obey.
According to them, since it's a government social intervention initiative, fuel should be subsidized for the operations of the buses in order to make their fares cheaper.
A government need to me young baby. Not to me see fuel no so more almost on betty transport no so kakra na ya nyina na Yɛn ha yɛ kakra because yɛbɛdi Christmas da no bɛ yiri ɛbɛyɛ den koraa because yɛduru Christmas yɛn sɛ yɛtu nneɛma mu nti yɛbɛsan tu mu bio nso ɛnyɛ ade a wɔn bɛ pini so kyerɛ sɛ trɔtrɔfoɔ no ɛnti wɔn de esu yɛ sɛ ɛnyɛ ade a ebi a wɔn bɛ pini so nti aban no nhwɛ yɛn kakra yɛn mmata no nso yɛbrɛ.
So I'm pleading with the government to do something about it because they are the ones who is there and when they go to Parliament, they are the ones who discuss everything over there. So they have to do something. We are begging them to do something about it.
Well, we are pleading to the authorities as far as the Ayololo is state enterprise. At least the fare should have been down, more moderate, so that ordinary Ghanaians can do what? Can access it.
However, the managers who justified their increase in transport fares said the cost of fuel is a major factor as government does not subsidize it for them.
If you look at our main operational challenges or main operational costs of these buses is the fuel. And since we are aware how fuel prices have been going up from June coming, it was only fair that we also review our fares so that we can maintain and also continue our operations. So it is mainly about the cost of fuel to our operation that made us review our fares. Has never been a subsidy and there's no subsidy since we started operations in 2016. We can recognize how government facilitated for these projects to commence and even the procuring of the buses. But to the best of my knowledge, and I've been on this project since 2010, and I can tell you there's no subsidy in our operations. We have made several requests to the Ministry of Local Government, Ministry of Transport, even to lift our fuel from bus. But all this has never been materialized. So we go to the pump and we buy as any ordinary operator on the road.
They also promised to ensure their transport fares are not at par with other commercial transport unions.
We are also with the Ghana Road Transport Coordinating Council and the GPRTU, as well as the Ministry of Transport. So anytime transport fares are reviewed, we base on that percentage and also review ours. And you can recognize that even though we have increased our fares, it is not up to the trotro because of the size of our bars and also some inconveniences that sometimes passengers encounter. So our fares has always been lower than the normal trotro on the streets.
Reporting for Citi News, my name is Ansheli Zibu.
A private hostel facility at the University for Development Studies, UDS Tamale, has been gutted by fire. The incident, which occurred on Thursday, destroyed almost all 18 rooms of the facility.
According to the property owners, only 2 students were in the hostel at the time of the incident, as the university is currently on its trimester break.
Visit by Citi News to the hostel saw properties of students completely burnt. Items including mattresses, cooking utensils, and other valuables were destroyed by the fire. Some carpenters were also seen at the scene, removing the damaged roofing. According to the owners of the property, the fire began from one of the locked rooms and soon spread to the others. Here is the son of the property owner speaking to Citi News.
Fire service, that was the first thing I did when I had the news. So after calling fire service, I called a few of my friends and we were heading towards here. So as at the time we came, the fire service came before we arrived. So they started with the fire. We were in the process of putting the fire. It's a hostel, so mainly it's for students. And as at this time, they are on holidays. So barely 3 students were available in the hostel. And those are medical students. After they have some few tests to do, so they were left behind.
The Northern Regional PRO for the Ghana National Fire Service, ADO2 Baba Hudu, has been speaking on the incident.
In fact, 3 of our fire attendants were at the scene due to the intensity of the fire. One thing we realized was that before the fire service got to the scene, the roof had already caved in, and so it makes it difficult to extinguish the fire. That means that the whole building, aside 3 rooms that was salvaged, was caved in already. And that is because one, the inhabitants did not call the fire service in time. And then 2, when they called the fire service to, in fact, if you look at the distance from the scene to the nearest fire station, it took the first pump to arrive at the scene with 14 minutes. They used 14 minutes to arrive at the scene. And that is what we have been preaching about. The global standard to response time is 4 to 5 minutes.
That will be all for the Citi Newsroom on Citi TV. Our website, citinewsroom.com, has more information on our top stories and more.
Subscribe to CityTube on YouTube for more exclusive video content from Citi TV.
You can also watch Citi TV on DSTV channel 363 and Go TV channel 182. My name is Tuffuor Boateng.
And I am Safo. Many thanks for watching. On Footprints this weekend, we have a conversation with a former Minister of State and editor of the Daily Graphic, Kojoyanka, as he walks us through his life.
How many years were you editor of Daily Graphic?
I was 2 years to the third year, and then the Amatekwe story came up.
Yeah.
And I was suspended.
The other story will be the murder of the High Court judges and Major Sam Akwa. How did you capture it as a newspaper at the time?
When the final report